So here we go again. Second attempt tonight. It's actually streaming pretty easily at 30 FPS, but I don't know why it decided to drop the stream just a minute ago. I literally don't know why. I'll have to follow the quality of the stream. Anyway, I think I got everything up and running again, and what I wanted to show was that I figured out how to set up the RailWorks Joystick API, so now I can control the train with my joysticks and all. So everything is awesome. So let's take the brakes off here and go to the gravel pit. Let me just set the reverse off just a little bit more, just around 40, and then apply power. All that weird whistling noise is the safety valve on the train that's still popping off all the time because we're not using any steam. We're not using enough steam. As it were. This has so much traction power, you wouldn't believe it. A lot of the other steam trains, when you accelerate away, you get warnings for wheel spin, but I don't even think you can spin the wheels on this thing. It's just so incredibly heavy. The Union Pacific big boy locomotives were built by the American Locomotive Company during the Second World War, and the purpose of building these trains was to haul freight trains across USA, because during the Second World War a lot of the production of things, or a lot of the American production industry, is on the East Coast, and of course a lot of people and a lot of food and goods had to be transported across the states to the West Coast. And prior to having the big boy locomotives, that required two smaller locomotives in tandem in order to pull the freight trains, the long freight trains, up the steep hills. Especially popular among those are Sherman Hill, which is a very long, quite steep incline for trains at least. And running trains in tandems isn't exactly the most economic way of pulling heavy trains, since you may double the power, but you also double the friction. So what they decided to do was to build this big, huge, big articulated thing with 2 lead axles, and the first bogie is made out of 4 pulling axles, and then the second bogie of 4 pulling axles, and then a trailing pair of 2 axles. It's humongously big. The whole train weighs in at about 345 tons. That's 345,600 kilograms. So this weighs approximately somewhere between the weight of 20 road-going trucks. It's just massive. If you combine the weight of the locomotive, which is the 300 and the 345 tons with the weight of the tender, it comes to over 500 tons. Since the tender is actually quite heavy, it contains a lot of water, because big steam train like this of course requires huge amount of water in order to make the steam that's needed to drive it. We need to change some switches up ahead. Of course, it's got the well, everyone will recognize that as a sort of an American steam engine whistle, but it's actually very much in tradition for the Union Pacific engines. To stop here, so apply brakes, and then go onto the map, change that switch behind us, and we need to pick up those four gravel cars. So we set up the reverser for reverse instead, 40%. Take off the brakes and throttle up. Let's do this from inside, like a train conductor would. Let's see it in real life. Just like that. American trains have these knuckle couplers, so what we need to do is just push against this and it'll make them, the knuckle flaps hit each other and they'll lock on and grab each other. So we just slowly need to advance and hit this. There we go. We have the gondolas, air hoses are connected, head out onto the main line. So, reverser goes forward, 40%, apply power, here we go. And as I said, that whistling sound is coming right now. That is the engine safety valve popping off because it reaches 296 psi of pressure, steam pressure. This is because we're not using enough steam at the moment. Of course, reversing the engine around and fooling around like this isn't what this locomotive was made for. It's made for pulling very, very long freight trains, and pulling 4 or 5 flatbed cars like this is just a laughing stock, but well, it'll do for having fun, right? So we're going out onto the main line. Let's look at the other side of the locomotive here and see where we're going. Like that. Let's get a bit more speed. Go via Granite. Main 20 is perhaps a little bit fast for this type of corner because it makes, you can see the G meter over here, it makes the entire train lean very heavily up against the outside track. The flanges of the wheels are gonna start gnawing at the track, and that creates this loud screaming sound. I suspect this switch is thrown in the right direction. And we're coming up on a red light, so I'll just contact the dispatch to get clearance to pass that signal. Thank you. And when we get onto the main line here, we will have a speed limit of 55 miles per hour, so we can give it a bit more oomph. But I tell you, the power of this big, the way it just moves instantly when you apply power and just accelerates like a crazy thing, is just amazing. You can really feel the power behind this. Take care here, we're coming up on some twisty bits. Past that all modern Pacific train coming right against here. We're gonna go along the switch to the right and then take the right track past that. Speed limit is 30 now, so accelerate. We got a timely bonus right there. And now the speed limit is 55, so I think for that we're going to need to set the reverser a little bit lower. Maybe something like 25%. He's moving in a different direction as we are. That makes it seem even faster. $45, $46, $47, $48, $49. See, we're moving quite fast now. 51. Let's back off the throttle. Think about 9-10% will do it, and we're actually going downhill about 1.5%, so I think we should cut this off and be ready to brake. Because this thing may start accelerating. Down. I should have used the horn a little, or whistle a little bit before there. You're supposed to use it before these kind of small crossings. Now in 1.6 miles. The speed limit is going down to 45. So let's start braking for that. Brake isn't exactly enough to make it slow down, so 40%. And since we're not pulling a lot of cars, if we can't use the brakes to stop the train down, I can actually use the reverser. Oops, 100% no. I can actually use the reverser and make the engine kind of push against the pistons and then slowly slow it down. Up on the 45 limit, we're going 43 miles per hour, and in 7 miles we're going to have to stop at Bori, pick up some more box cars, more flatbed cars. I think it's more gravel cars. Right now we are just rolling downhill. Let's do some of these nice drive-by shots. As tall as about a 3-story building. It is a huge moving thing. From inside the driver's cab, reverser. Over here, brakes, throttle, blower valves, all sorts of things. You could control the train from in here, pulling all these levers and stuff, but I think it's a bit confusing, especially since you can't lean. You have to lean outside the window. You can't really look outside that window. It's a bit of a problem. For realism and overview, I prefer to use the lean outside the window camera like this. And when I'm using a triple screen, I can get a nice wide view of the surroundings. Oh, should have used the whistle again. Sorry. Down to 42 miles per hour. We could put a little bit of power on, a little bit of throttle. So this is the prairie, the famous American prairie. Used to be full of bison, oxes, and Indians. Now it's just full of different types of bushes and grass, looks like. farmland. Lots and lots of farmland. Well, it isn't exactly like going through South Germany or Switzerland with a lot of scenic views and stuff like that. It's just a lot of grass, honestly. Flat lands and a lot of grass. A ranch. Some houses, a small village. Don't know what village that's supposed to be. It is sort of late afternoon, 16:20-ish. Maybe we should have some lights on. %47 on the water. Let's start the pump and start pumping water into the boiler. And I could start coaling the furnace also. That is actually a worm gear driving the coal from the tender into the firebox. It's not like all the steam trays where there was a guy shoveling coal into the firebox. This is fully automated, so all the driver does, or the fireman does, is flip a switch, and his primary task on these type of big engines is just checking out that pressure is okay, and help the driver look out for signals, and sort of a more supportive role instead of just shoveling coal. It used to take 3 guys to run this these big boy trains: a driver, a fireman, and a brakeman. So controlling the brakes of the cars was actually a job for a separate guy. I'm not throttling up to 55 now because we're coming in on our stop. It's 1.7 miles an hour. I guess we could try and keep this speed at least. It's still a 1.5% gradient, down gradient, so it doesn't take very much power to keep this train rolling. .5% is just slightly less than it takes to keep the train rolling all by itself. Looks like there's a couple of thunder clouds around. I guess this is I guess this is the northern part of the tornado alley. So if it's late summer here, I suppose there could be tornadoes. Horns and bells. Maybe those are the cars that we're supposed to pick up. Let's look at this map. Yeah, that's where we're supposed to stop. So let's just apply some brakes. I think we're going to overshoot this. That's not good. Let's look at that map again and stop at Ori Department. Yeah, we have to reverse just slightly bit. Let's back up a bit. The reverser is like the gears of a car. The closer you go to 0, the longer the gear gets. So something like 5-10% is equal to something like 5th or 6th gear in a modern car. And the closer you get to 75% each way is closer to a first gear forward, or like if you had 5 or 6 reversing gears, that would be a first gear reverse. XS height car, so it warns that it's a very high car. Like so. 16:31. That wasn't exactly on time. I'm supposed to stop here, but it doesn't react to me stopping here. Oh, stupid game. I don't know if I need to go further back. We're already late now, so let's try and stop exactly where it says stop at Bowery. Which is about here. Nothing is reacting. It doesn't jump to the next point. I think we're just gonna go past that switch ahead and pick up those cars like it says we're supposed to. The 1631 was quite a while ago. 4 minutes ago. Just about. I'm absolutely sure I was supposed to stop on that siding, and I don't have clearance for that siding, and it's an automated... it changed now. Great. It's an automated switch, so I have to go where the game wants me to go in order to make that siding switch over. We now have to be very, very careful not going too fast and hitting those box cars with too much speed, because that will just derail everything. So I'm kind of going with some brakes here. See those cars start turning in on that siding, and then I want to apply brakes. Then we want to be going down to just about 2 miles per hour, and let's release that. Slowly, let's just keep it at around 1 mile per hour if I can. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how far that is, but if you use this plane mode thingy, you can see how far it is. So that would be the equivalent of having a caboose on the rear end of the train, and having a guy from the caboose help you reversing back and pulling the manual switches and stuff like that. I think we need to go a little bit faster. But the gravel cars here, they're actually full, so they should actually be pretty heavy. And loaded cars, heavy loaded cars, don't derail that as easy as full cars on these impacts when you're trying to couple up some new cars. So, but it builds a lot of momentum. So even though you're going slow, it won't stop as easy as an empty car when you roll back into other cars. operational error because I hooked up to the box cars on the siding without stopping, so that's a penalty of 500, even though I couldn't stop at this siding because I want to show you this. There's no entrance at the other end, so I couldn't reverse onto this track. Stupid. Well, let's loosen the brakes, put on the reverser for forward 40%, and I really nearly don't have to do anything because this is just rolling out onto the main track again. We are at 1.2% down gradient. Let's go back with the main engine. Oh, we're speeding. We're speeding a lot. Let's get that down with some speed. Oh, I'm getting a lot of minus points. That's no good. So the rear end of the train is still on a siding, and the siding had a speed limit of 15 miles per hour, even though the main track has a 55 miles per hour speed limit. So that was why I was speeding. Only when the last of the cars is out onto the main track, the new speed limit, higher speed limit is imposed. So now we got a nice little train here, something actually half worthy. Actually half worthy of being pulled by a big boy, a Union Pacific big boy locomotive. Nice. 1.2% down gradient, so let's not accelerate too much. I'm gonna put my keyboard back up here in this. I've got this holder for it up here. That's mostly for when I'm doing sim racing and stuff. It's just nicer to have it up here instead of lying around somewhere you can't find it. Almost speeding. Oh, water is at 100%, so let's stop pumping that. Still plenty of coal in the firebox, so no need to use any more of that. and we're supposed to stop at Wycombe Nitrate 1. We were supposed to be there at 16:40, so we're 5 minutes late at the moment due to the confusion at the pickup of the boxcars. And down here we'll have to pick up some more, even more cars. Let's use that 55 limit all the way. Because we are in a bit of a hurry. Wycombe Nitrate. Watch out, people. Big boy locomotive coming through. So what's this about? It's about us going past that Wycombe approach and then applying some brakes, so that'll be about now. I need to pass this signing. Of course, we don't only need me to pass it, we need the entire train to pass it. So let's not go too hard on the brakes yet before we have the last car passed. I think that's going to match just nicely. Of course it needs to go all the way across the throw of the switch. So, like that. Whee! Howling brakes. Nice. Then we need to go something like 42% would be okay. Put on a little bit of throttle since we're going downhill. We don't want to roll back. Get request to pass signal at danger approved. So now we can reverse. Pass this red signal. And we can check that that's going to take us to nitrate 1. So that's going to take us in here. That's nitrate 3. So we need to throw that switch, which takes us to nitrate 1, and the car, so we need to pick up automatic switch if that one has gone through. I just started the bells on the locomotive, but we're reversing. You can't hear it. Now this again has a limit of 15, so let's not go too fast. Twisting and having the buffers between cars touch each other and push each other can actually, if you have a light train and light cars, it can actually make the last car, or when you're reversing the first car, jump a lot when you're pushing the cars into each other like this. So the speed can vary a lot on a large car because it can start to wobble a lot. Miles per hour, and we are getting there. That's what, 15 feet, 10 feet. Oh, that's about 10 feet. 5, and oh, that's close. Come on. Operational error again. We're supposed to stop here without picking the cars up. Every time I pick the cars up I get operational error. This mission is just for idiots. Well, let's go back to the train. Because I think now what we have up ahead here is a red switch, which we need to get through. To pass, and we need to move the reverser forward, of course. Oh, now we have a decent train. Now we need to go 15 miles per hour for a long time. So 16:55 we need to stop at Cheyenne South, which is in no minutes at all, and it's a 5-mile drive, so that is not going to happen. Points on this is not going to be good. And we're back onto the main line. Look at all the axles on the tender. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 axles. That is a massive thing. Honestly, the way still and the power that's needed to make the train go, of course it's a 1% down gradient, I forgot about that, but I was just going to say that the power feels like enormous. It can pull, I think, 10 times as many cars as what we've got now. It is incredibly powerful. Oh, we're back up to 55 speed limit, so let's go. Look at that. If I just did, look at how fast we can accelerate. That is pretty insane. So in 1 mile it's going to be 40 instead of 55, so let's go brakes. Smooth braking. The yellow sign past that was the 40 sign. Minutes late. Oh, it's gonna be more than that. We really have to keep yourself busy on this mission and get it right the first time around. I've got almost minus 1,000 points. Limit. Yellow signs means there's gonna be a red up ahead, I think. It looks awfully red in front of me now. I think we're going to have to prepare to stop. Can I? Nope. I can't request any clearance. I don't know, ow, what happened? A lot of light suddenly. That was weird. I see something green. Ah, if I only understood train signals just a little bit better, I would know what this means. Reds and a green, that means red in some distance, or I suppose that means that there's gonna be a red light sometime soon. Not very much, but still speeding. It's not a 20 limit, it's a 35 limit, but somehow I've been given a 20 miles per hour limit. It's a 15 miles per hour limit coming up soon, so I guess we're gonna have to go back on the brakes. Ah, sharp turn. That's why. out on this siding, I think. I don't see any red lights up ahead. I have changed the switches. Do I need to change switch ahead? I don't think so. Yes, this one needs to be changed. We need to go up here. Towards this main siding line, right? Cheyenne 1 south. Cheyenne 1 south. I think this should take us there. Cheyenne 9 west, 9 west. Cheyenne inspect. Good track. Good track. Southwest. South lead east. Oh god. South 1 west. South 1 west. That's this one. And that's just where we're going if we continue in this direction. Cheyenne. South New Way. Straight, straight, straight. Cheyenne 1 south west. Cheyenne 1 southwest. That's the track right beside that guy. And that is the track we're heading onto. Jesus, there's so many sightings. At least I hope this is right. Looks like it is. Yeah. It is the right track. Now let's... oh, speeding. Again with the speeding. Minus 900 points. I don't think I've ever done this bad in any of these missions except for when weird things happen and the train just suddenly derails. That's a thing too. It's not flawless, this game. I'm actually quite amazed at how I managed to make it run in triple screen, but it's a great experience. It really makes it a lot more immersive, I think, having the game like around you. Need to go just a little bit further till we cleared all the switches. I think we should just stop here. I think that's far enough. Just park it a bit here. Wait until the counter says it's okay, and then the mission is over. And I'll have a lot more minus points. Yeah. That was a good run. See you soon. Minus 15,480. Well, anyway, it wasn't to get points. It was to have fun in a Union Pacific Big Boy, and I guess we achieved that. And scenario is complete. So I'm going to stop the broadcast for now. So, see you another time for maybe some train simulator, maybe something entirely else. Bye bye.